Literally shoving food in my face.
We're live.
Welcome to ASMR Eating Pizza Live. Eat very close to the mic and weird everybody out.
I'm not going to do that.
Well,
That's weird.
this was Austin's idea, and we're live with a quarter of John's head. Technician
Yeah.
Troy,
Yeah. John
Nick
is
the
here.
Van
He's
Man
just right
90,
there.
and Austin, and a bunch of pizza and stuff.
Way too much.
And we got Colleen in here, Stephen Holtz, Danny Boyd. So we did this just an unscheduled live. Well, we knew about it for a few days, but anyway.
Oh, John, you're here
I
now?
think John's stuff is working.
Perfect.
now.
I think it's working now.
Cool.
You good?
Well, now you can come
John,
get
you
in
wanna come over here
camera.
and get a view. Oh, wait.
Oh yeah, now you got to get
There's
on
the other
frame.
half. There's the other half of John's head.
Yeah. He's wired in.
Yeah, that's what I
Mopar
was saying.
Al.
Well.
I guess this is an opportunity to meet Technician Troy for those of you who don't know him, and
Hola.
he is running in the No Name 500. He's almost
Mopar Al's
halfway,
here.
just over halfway here.
What's up, Lars?
I see Lars,
I just found out Lars doesn't live too far from me, actually.
Twisted Mopar Dennis. How you doing?
I feel like I should know him since his first name is my last name.
True
Or
story.
middle name.
Middle name.
Forget your name.
I don't remember nothing.
There's John's waist.
There's John.
Twisted Mopar says, "Stand up, Troy." I think he's trying to give you some gymnastics.
I don't think you want me to do that right now. All you're going to see is frontal. It's full frontal at that point because I'm tall.
Okay.
Here, I'll go for it, though. Watch this.
Think you can
6'4",
pick him out
man.
of a lineup now, Dennis?
I'm 6'4". Can't help it.
Sorry, we're not super organized yet. We've had technical problems.
Barrows Garage, Turbo Tom. How y'all doing?
We've had technical problems. I guess we could say tonight's sponsored by Holly EFI.
Tonight is sponsored by Holly Sniper.
I literally have an EFI system from Holly on the Monte Carlo. Why are we doing this to me?
No. See, there's our pitch right there. You got it. This
It
is
works.
now. Thanks, Holly, for all the problems.
This is just
It was
a,
just that we missed one thing in the instructions.
this is a random midweek live to give you guys more of an opportunity if you want to meet Technician Troy. That's why we're doing it. Don't know how long we'll be on tonight, but anyway, Lunar stopped in. How's it going? He's thanking me for answering the phone. Well, that's cool.
That's a rarity nowadays.
I guess
It is.
I guess we can do the same thing that we did when Nick came on the live for the first time. Just explain to everybody who you are
Yeah, tell
and
everybody
why they should subscribe to you, because I can't find a reason.
Well, I'll be honest. I didn't want to do YouTube. But everybody tells me that I have the personality for it. What's up, old man?
Old man in the shop, built not bought. How you doing? Thanks for joining.
So, I'm out of everybody here. I would say I've probably been doing it, been a mechanic for professionally longer. I would say as a technician, hence the Technician Troy. But we've always messed with cars with each other and all that. So, realistically, I didn't want to do YouTube, and everybody was like, "Oh, you should start it. You should do it. We'll video, we'll edit,
Literally
we'll do any of that." I don't typically know how to record. I just know how to work on stuff. So I'm constantly just diving in. Even a matter of fact, Austin had his car in 2 weeks ago?
The Jet.
Yeah, had the Jet in, and we were working on it.
We found what broke.
Yeah.
It was bad.
We were working on it, and as soon as it pulls into my garage, I start ripping stuff apart. And he was like, "Well, I was going to do that." Well,
I was like, dude, you did all the work. I didn't even
I have a
start.
tendency to jump in, and that's a lot of people love that about me, is just because I like to work. So, yeah, this is what I work at a shop 12 hours a day, and then I come home and I wrench on stuff to calm down from wrenching on stuff. So
The irony of that.
it really is
Yeah.
bad, but
Want to say hello to 6% Recycled, Andy from Unity Motorsports, Bad Tree Productions, Chris 103 Customs. Thank you guys for joining us. Said you want to know who that is? That would be on the far left, Technician Troy. Technician Troy, the Jet Gang, and Nick the Van Man back there is the drummer.
Speaking of the van, you want to give everybody an update?
I think the drive shaft to be done tomorrow.
Cool. Thanks, Nick. Back to you, Troy, in the studio.
I mean, I'm a one-man team. I don't. It's not a UN function getting my car together. You're
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
at it.
So if nobody really understands this, we've actually all known each other from high school. Every one of us.
I've
we've been
said that
friends.
every time we've gone on a live.
I know. Well, I've never seen your lives because let's be honest, I don't. Your face,
I wouldn't watch me either.
Your face is weird, but no, I mean they were the ones that forced me to, not force, but I said I wanted
It
to
was
race.
consensual.
I wanted to race, and next thing I know,
Yeah.
they're making me have a YouTube channel. So here I am.
Well, it's because you need the channel to race at No Name.
I don't have to. I could like backdoor in with somebody else.
You
but
could
that's-
just
that's
fight
like
everybody.
ooh, to the death, to the death with spoons, plastic ones. Yeah.
I could have just registered your vehicle and gave you a helmet, and you could have been my Stig.
That's cheating.
And then I don't take those though. That's the catch.
I know.
I mean,
So-
so you know,
I should do a Stig, and it'd be like Brittany Force or somebody.
I'm doing what I can to get that little Sonoma
Yeah, they cut a
to
good
No
line.
Name. So yeah.
Which the Sonoma and the Jet are right across that wall over there.
Yeah, right now, my roommate's car's in here. It's a '69 Roadrunner. So
You can see the blue of it right there.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Or you could get up and move the camera so they could see it.
I'm not doing that.
That's too much work. There's pizza involved.
That means you have to like stand.
But anyways, no, I mean, so little backstory on the Sonoma. It kind of fell into my lap. Like my first video said, I had a '95 S10 in high school. It was a black extended cab 4.3 that I blew up 3 or 4 different times.
3 engines, 4 transmissions.
No, it was 3 engines, 2 transmissions. Stock rear end that somehow went from an open diff to a full pause spool. Something I had to have broke and just locked in there. But it's been it was a good truck. I loved it and I sold it and I regretted it because I wanted to swap that years ago and I never got around to doing it. I've had a lot of hot rods since then. I had a 70. What year was that? 70. What was my Nova?
Oh God, the disco.
Disco
Oh man, it was like a 77.
It was a 77 Nova.
Because I
Funny-
owned it after you
Yeah,
owned
funny
it.
story behind that. I wrecked it swerving for what I thought was a bear. It wasn't. It was a dog. It was big enough to make me swerve. And I actually twisted the frame on it, put my head through the windshield, and sold it to a guy that I went to school with. Can't even remember.
Cody BC.
No,
No.
Landon.
That's right.
Oh.
Sold it to him, and he wound up selling it to Nick. And him and his dad put it on a frame chassis or a frame machine, straightened the chassis out, single 3-inch dual or single dual. Oh my God, I can't
I just
talk.
put a single 3-inch
Single
exhaust
3-inch
on it.
exhaust on it. Sounded good, ran great, and I lost that one. But I bought a 2000 Dodge Dakota RT, which they all
Oh
named.
yeah,
I should have.
I remember that.
They named it the Dakota. It was yellow. I despise yellow.
But it was the
Cannot-
wrong year yellow.
It was the wrong year yellow.
It was Tony Danza yellow.
So
I think it was pretty bitching.
I sold that truck. It was single
Sweet
cab
truck.
360, very, very mild stuff. And I kind of kicked myself in the butt for selling that one as well. It was a 2000 model. And according to the gentleman I sold it to, after he handed me the check and after I had signed the title, he informed me that there was only 78 yellow 2000 RTs made because that yellow was not supposed to be released until 2001. So I sold a rare truck
For not enough.
for not enough money. But realistically, I went to NMCA race. I was True Street. If nobody's ever been to NMCA races, the True Street is you have to actually drive a 25-mile run on the street and then pull straight into the staging lanes and hot lap 3 laps. And I think that one ran a 14 flat in the quarter, and she was a full AC car. Everything about it was a daily driver. And I kind of wanted the same thing with the Sonoma. So the Sonoma I found, Nick actually went with me to go pick it up in Columbia, Tennessee.
Funny, we did the same thing with the Monte Carlo.
We did the Monte Carlo. I'm going to do a video on the Monte Carlo. I'm trying to get a schedule together with my dad because that's
There
a
you go,
father-son
fat ass.
project. I love that
Just
truck.
want
I
one
love
more.
that car.
Thank
But
you.
the Sonoma, it's just a 5.3. It's an LM7, 9.5 to 1 compression. It's got a BTR Stage 3 cam, a little bit of head work. I think they're 706 heads. Could be wrong, but I believe they're 706 heads.
Real quiet mufflers.
Yeah, not anymore. Thanks to somebody.
Not Nick.
But it's a 4L65 transmission. and now it's got a Ford 9 in it. If you watch the videos, there is very long, drawn out process of me swapping a rear end in it not too long ago.
Fun fact: what's the difference between a 4L60 and a 4L65?
So the
One has
4L60
gears.
No, 4L60. Yeah, 4L60 has
One keeps its gears.
One has a bunch of neutrals.
4L60 is a little bit weaker. It come in almost everything. The 65 came in. That was the transmission they put behind the 6.0 Vortec.
You know what the 5 means, though, right?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know nothing about transmissions. I know that you put magic juice in them. Black
No.
magic voodoo happens.
It has
power comes out the
5
back.
means it has 5 clutches instead of 4.
All right. Like I said,
Clutch
juice, black magic voodoo, power comes out the back. That's how an automatic transmission works.
You know, it's funny.
So,
We say that, but now that I've done a few automatics and my builders kind of like told me a lot of stuff and showed me a lot of stuff, automatics are actually a lot simpler than a manual transmission.
Yeah.
I would rather build a 727 than a T56 any day.
I will take a full on manual trans all day long before anybody else wants to, before I want to do automatic.
Yeah, I thought the same
Here's
thing when I
a-
took my 4-speed apart, and then I was wrong.
here's something completely unrelated.
Uh-huh.
If anybody here remembers last time that Nick was on a live when maybe it was the first time, maybe it was the second time, but we told the story of the smart car
Oh my god.
about how Nick ended up with a smart car. Troy is the one that made the joke, haha, you should buy the smart car. And
I worked at CarMax at the time, and Nick wanted to find a full frame town car, Crown Vic, Charger, or there was something else you look for, whatever. So I knew exactly where we were going. I was like, I got this perfect Crown Vic picked out. It's going to
Mach
be great. We were going to walk in there. We walk out of the doors. He looks to the right. I look to the right. I go, you can buy a smart car. I continue to walk to the Crown Vic that we were going to look at. And next thing I know is Nick is nowhere to be found. And he has bought a smart car before I even could find it.
and he took it drag racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, a week later, I'm at Union Hill, Sportsman and Pro Foot Brake.
In a smart car. It's the stupidest fucking car.
It wasn't much slower than the Astro, the 4.3. It ran a 1255 at 55 miles an hour, and the Astro run a 1248 at 54.
Damn.
Okay. I will say I did just take the first 3 passes in the Sonoma. And my old Dakota ran a 9 flat consistently, 9 to 9.2. Decked out, full interior, AC, everything, radio, still had the tunes blaring, rocking down the road, rocking down the track. So I took the Sonoma 2 Saturdays ago, and I went to Music City Raceway, formerly known as Union Hill. People still call it Union Hill.
It's still Union Hill.
It's still the hill, yeah. But so I put it on the track. The very first pass I make, I'm rushing very quickly to try to get this thing on there to get some test and tune time before they actually start. I get there. I don't set the pressures correctly in the tires and the slicks. I do not set the cow tracks for racing. I do not do a good burnout, and I spin terribly off the line. And you could have absolutely. My reaction time was that of what a caterpillar would have turned into a butterfly. It was calendared dates before I took off, and it ran an 8.4. So I was very impressed with what it ran.
That's what the Jet did.
I'm looking to run 7, 8, 7.5, somewhere in there. Realistically, that's what I want. I want a real good, pretty decently fast 7.5 second car. That's what I want. With still having AC and tunes.
That's the big deal. Everybody now wants to go fast, but they want to go fast with their creature comforts intact.
That's right.
He still got AC.
It works wonderfully too.
The van has AC.
Yeah, mine's going to have ice cold AC too.
Now Nick's a little bit more brave than me. He said he's driving to Sykeston.
Yeah,
I'll be trailering mine. So,
I'm fucking poor. I don't have a trailer.
The Jet is being trailered.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a death trap. I've seen the welds. We'll talk about that later.
That's we didn't do that.
Looks like Stevie Wonder did it.
With
Nah.
his feet. It wasn't me.
Just
It wasn't John. It wasn't Garrett.
I
that
bet
did
they're
the welds.
flux core, aren't
Who
they?
did them?
They are flux, yeah. Some of them, yeah.
How'd I know?
I would be surprised if it's flux core. It's probably bubble gum.
Who did?
No.
Who did the welds?
Oh, the other one.
The other guy. All I can think is let's check out how the other guy's brake pads work.
Oh fuck. Like those ball joints, right? So
That video's not even out yet.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Do you just not like being alive?
No. What? Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, you're right.
Oh, okay.
No. So when we were taking apart the front end of the jet, this was 2 years ago. I wanted to replace every joint, everything that came off of that car, every single thing. However, we held on to them and reused them. And we know that they were bad when the alignment was set, before it even went to Sykeston. But Sykeston's what finally killed the ball joints, because the alignment was set on the old ball joints. And you and I put new ball joints in it, and now the alignment is completely fucked
Yeah,
again.
Essentially looks like the guy from Mr. Deeds, where it's what's his name? Steve Buscemi. He's all cross-eyed and goes, "Damn, these things
Things
are
are
fast."
fast.
That's
Yeah.
pretty much what you got. One cocked in this way, one going this way.
So,
Yeah.
your ball joints remind me of a story, and I am not going to name names to protect their identity, but I knew someone that had a 68 Valiant,
Okay.
and he let his wife race it. And
Okay.
the ball joints are bad. She stages the car. It comes out of the hole, and the ball joints come undone, and the wheels just
That's what was happening.
they
Yeah.
came off.
Oh, they came
It,
off.
it dropped.
Yeah.
And you know what he did? We drug it out past the pits. He beat them back in with a hammer and put hose clamps on them and sent it back out.
Hey, I've had
Yeah.
many a car come in the shop with ball joints or tie rods that have completely separated.
Yeah.
And a hose clamp will absolutely get me in the shop, and that's all that matters. It'll get me
I
in the
just,
shop.
I
and
just
make money.
realized that some people may not know exactly what we're talking about. When we took the jet to No Name last year, the last run we made, which luckily was at the end of the last day, John Wilburn and Dallas both noticed from the tower that the wheel was coming in on itself dangerously. And luckily that was, at the end of the whole thing. We didn't have time to get another run in anyway. But we initially thought it was the idler arm because the bushings were blown out. And we got that done, and it still did this number. You were driving behind me in the jet, and when I would take a right turn,
Oh yeah.
the wheel would come in on itself, badly. And that's what prompted us to look at the front end, because we thought the idler arm was bad. It turned out that both ball joints were just completely shot. You could
Hammer
blow
would go way positive, right?
Oh yeah.
say, oh yeah. You could blow on the ball joint and it would go. It was they're probably still in the trash can. It might still be.
I probably would go dig it through the trash. You know how much I work in this garage? I would do that.
Yeah. Well, I gotta get up anyway. I'm gonna go see if they're in there. I'll be right back.
Whatever. Hey, while you're up.
Yeah, I know.
Open the fridge.
That's why I'm getting up. Why do you think I'm getting up?
So, okay, I gotta point this out because this reminds me of your old. What year was your blue Ford?
Which one?
The 460 big block, because I just saw the comment that says, "I hope to make it my 90 F350 465 speed." That's a
Troy.
man's truck right there. Easy killer.
Mine wasn't a 460.
It wasn't.
It was a 360 FT and a
Oh, that's
67
right.
It was a FE.
He had a massive sticker made, and it said, "What was it? 6 miles to a gallon?"
Yeah, because it got 6 mpg.
or 6 gallons to a mile, or something.
I wish I wasn't broken in school back then. That was a cool truck.
Wait, what?
Colleen,
this tool bag?
Colleen, what I found is that a lot of shops, the guys know how to turn the boxes green and just hit print, but they don't really know how to align a car. And so
Correct.
a lot of shops you'll send a car to will come out worse than before.
Yep.
Because you can turn all the boxes green. For a perfect example, let's say that you have your toe in on one side and your toe in on the other. Let's say you have toe out on both sides and you're just within spec, and your cross toe will show green. But you might actually have the alignment worse than before. You may actually have more cross toe out than you had when the car went in, and the car wanders more, even though the boxes were not green when it went on the rack and they were green on the screen when it came off.
You drove that like that?
Dude, they're both. I'll go get the other one.
I'll be honest. I've seen some hack job alignments, and it's
What, set the toe, let it go?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes a lot of these cars. That's all you can do, and it's so crazy now that a lot of your front end components are sealed. There is no grease fitting, so they say they're lifetime components. That doesn't make any sense to me. So
I know somebody who took a car in, he took a Honda in because it was pulling to one side. And he had the alignment done. They said they couldn't do anything on the rear alignment. Well, the rear toe was really badly out. And the problem with that is that when the rear toe is out, the car is still steering, and you're having to hold it straight against that toe out on the rear. I told him, I said, no, they can fix this, but you have to cut those plastic shims. It's a lot more work to fix the toe on the rear. That's what they didn't want to do.
Exactly.
And so they sent it out the door just like that, and that wasn't okay.
Yeah, they you got shim kits, camber bolts, new or different cam bolts that'll give you more adjustment, and it's
Don't forget
a
the
lot of
I-beam
people-
jack.
Yeah, a lot of people want quick, easy money, and that's the one thing that I like to do is I enjoy this enough to where I want stuff done right. I want somebody to come back to me and continually be a customer, and that's what I like about what I do and who I work for. So,
Well, speaking of bad advice, okay,
God.
so these are the ball joints that came out of the car. And I don't know if you can see that, but they probably shouldn't.
I got long arms here.
Here, you do it. These are both of them. Yeah, we were told to hold on to those because they're built better
Here, hang on.
than the new ones.
Here's a little ASMR. Ready?
Yeah, that's your old parts are way better than the new stuff.
So the
They're-
ball joint,
they're both shot.
actually, you can actually grab the
you can
the
just
joint and pick it up and bounce it inside
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
yeah, they're both completely shot.
Yep.
So that we luckily had 2 more pairs of them, so we got good ones now.
I know people that build their car out of stuff like that,
Dude, it's shit. It's bullshit.
So
aka you.
It's a piece of shit. I wanted to replace them. I knew they weren't going to be good.
For every degree that your toe is out, you're dragging the tires sideways 50 feet per mile.
Yep.
So, I mean, it pays to get it right. I mean, the cost of a tie rod is nothing compared to the cost of tires.
The only thing we didn't buy new was ball joints. Everything
You
else
might
we
actually
replaced.
see you
We
actually
bought
might
them
net a
and
higher
then
trap
returned
speed with it,
them,
right?
That's right.
remember?
Wait, what'd you say?
You might have a higher trap speed with it, right?
Oh yeah, because now the tire won't just be wanting to in on itself.
Less
So,
friction,
yeah.
less rotational friction.
I could seriously, you can take one of these ball joints. One of them
I'm not even kidding. I'm being
than
serious.
the other, and you could blow it to the other side.
Wow.
Like it's bad.
it's Nick, how many cars have you had?
Too damn many.
Well, yeah.
The Astros 52.
How old are you, Nick?
I'm 33, and I did not count motorcycles or non-running parts vehicles.
Dudes
Oh.
with
Say
wrenches
hello.
this year.
Dudes with wrenches, how's it going?
Wrenches.
One thing that makes a ball joint harder to diagnose that a lot of people miss is if you jack a car up, let's say from the frame or the K member, and you have the weight hanging on it.
Yep.
You'll go to move it and they'll say, well, I don't feel anything. Well, of course you don't, because the weight of the wheel and the spindle and the brakes and everything are hanging down and they're camouflaging the problem. Then you go to lift it from the control arm and you're like, oh, wow, this thing's worn out. I'm like, yeah, now you can tell it.
Also, it blew a shock.
Yeah, that was the weirdest thing.
And it was a good shock up until
it was that shock was what, maybe
a
6 months old,
yeah,
year
a year
old.
old.
So we were jacking up on the lower control arm on the driver's side.
It was clean. It wasn't busted.
It compressed the shock, no problems. Nice and easy and slow, just so we could get everything lined up. Went to do the other one, and I'm glad it did it here and not at the track. Whenever you pull the front end up and it extends, but when we put it on jack stands and I went to compress it, it instantly blew the seal just completely out of it. So there was fluid everywhere. I was like, well, this was hot garbage.
Weird. I have
You've
no
put
idea
hot
how the
garbage.
hell-
You've put
It's a
junk
K-
on
it's
it.
a
is what I'm
KYB.
saying.
It's a good shock.
Have you seen the car? You've put junk on it. That's what it is.
Yeah. The external appearance
Yeah.
is definitely telling of the parts that we got.
Yeah.
Why do you think people gave us so much shit for spending money on parts?
So as somebody who does this every day for a living, what are you noticing about the parts, like front end parts especially?
Okay, so front end parts, I don't understand why they sell cheaper parts for front ends. I have seen poor quality on a lot. I'm not going to name any names other than giving them praise. Moog is fantastic. They've always been on top of their game. Now, do they have hit or miss? Yes, but realistically, the biggest thing is that we're seeing is they're not serviceable. They're not. You can't grease them. You can't change like the boots anymore. If the boot's torn, most of your technicians, they write it up, say, oh, the joint's going to be dry. It's going to get debris in it. It's going to wear it out. Yes, it will, because it's not serviceable. You can't put new grease in it and push that junk out of it and be able to put a new boot on it. So, I mean, nobody rebuilds axles anymore. It's cheaper to get new axles than it is to rebuild them. It's cheaper to do a lot of replacements now. And I think it's because we're going to a lot of subpar quality parts. And that's just realistically the biggest problem is trying to get them. I mean, COVID really killed manufacturing, and we're just trying to get parts is a nightmare. So
want to say hi to Dudes with Wrenches and Frank McCart Rivet and F100. So something I've seen a few times on YouTube, I've heard stories of this. It's getting more common. People will get new ball joints out of the box, and it's usually that white box China stuff, right?
Yep.
They'll install them on the car, and literally they will come apart. They'll come out of the socket within a mile.
absolutely.
I've heard of this about a half a dozen times now, so it's not an isolated thing. What is the deal with that?
So I believe I have seen two different vehicles that have done this specifically within the last 6 or 7 months, and they always have the same story. Well, we just put new ball joints on. Okay, well, where did you get them? Well, we got them off of Amazon.
Oh yeah, there you go.
You have no idea where they're sourcing these parts. I bought Weld lug studs and I bought the ARP lug studs, and I bought Weld lug nuts. What I got was 1 pack of Weld lug nuts and 4-pack of Magard that were unpackaged and put into a Weld bag. And I mean, you don't know what they're buying the cheapest parts they can, trying to get it to you as fast as possible. And it's not. I try to stay away from Amazon when I buy parts for either
I've
race
seen
car
one
or
other
something
issue
like
with
that.
ball joints too, aside from coming apart. I've done a lot of sets of ball joints that were cheap, and then the vehicle failed to return on steering.
Yes. Yeah, they're just poor machining
Yeah.
on the joint
They're
itself.
tight.
And a lot of times you see them, if they're press in, the knurls will be wrong. They won't
Mhm.
press in. They'll slide back out of the control arm itself. So, yeah, I mean, sub quality parts lately. I mean, it's everybody's trying to get $1 as best as they can. So
There's a handful of things that have gotten better over the years across the board. Like, for example, the way that we make rubber, right?
oh yeah,
Like the kind of rubber that goes into tires. So, for example, what was a good tire, say, in the 60s and a cheap tire in the 60s? Your cheap tires now are better than your good tires were 30, 40 years ago.
absolutely.
But then there's some things, well, and also, for example, like brake pads. There was a reason they didn't used to bond brake pads and brake shoes. It's because they couldn't get the bonding to stay put. You'd have the lining come off. Well, that's a lot better than it used to be. I mean, very, very rarely do you ever see a bonded pad or shoe come free. It does, but man, it's nothing like it was in, say, the 70s, right?
It's like
But then
rebuilt.
there's also, while technology's been a little better to some things, there's some other things where there's just been a race to the bottom, like
Yeah.
bearings and seals, and a lot of machined parts are just worse than ever. I got a variable valve timing solenoid for Honda
Honda?
CRV. Yep. And I took it out of the box, and it was a white box China piece, right? I look at it, and I look inside it, and that thing, I took the little screen off of it, and it was so full of machining trash and cutting oil. I'm like, how is this thing supposed to live? It is absolutely packed with machining trash. And it just, there's just no excuse for that. And the kind of parts that we're getting, where most people don't do their own work anymore, they send them out, and then you have garages, unscrupulous garages, will put that stuff on there, and it's just not good.
If I remember correctly, they used to rebuild brake shoes, didn't they?
Still
Oh,
do.
yeah.
They still do.
Still do.
Some
Tennessee
shit.
Clutch and Supply still reline your shoes.
Crazy. And
Well, you say-
retread tires. They
Yeah,
still do that on
retread
trucks.
tires used to be a thing.
There's still one place that does it.
There's one place that does it, but that's a trailer thing. Don't put it on the truck.
Yeah.
Not only do they not retread tires like they used to, when you go to get like replacement tires for trailers, they sell a lot more of them with the wheel than without.
Yeah.
Because people would rather do that than change the tire on the wheel. It's just becoming a really disposable society, and the parts quality is just trash because of it.
Mufflers are trash now too. I'll throw names around because I don't really give a shit. But Flowmasters are all made in China now, as if they weren't garbage before. They're really garbage now, and they're painted black instead of silver. You can't weld through the paint, and the shit glows green when you weld it.
Wait, what?
glows green when you weld it.
Because
The
it's got lead.
maybe, I don't know.
Lead burns green. doesn't
Paint.
it? Oh, it's paint.
Do you ever take a magazine, throw it on a fire and see
Yeah,
green
it's the
flame?
ink.
It's
Yeah,
It's the ink.
pigment.
It's the filament. It's not
Yeah, so
filament,
if you want good mufflers, buy Dynatex.
Dudes
Don't
with
buy
riches
Flowmasters.
he got done building a power steering pump after getting a new one that was junk. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're so much better off with trying to save your old parts now. But then again, there comes a point when you can't just use worn out old stuff. So
we should rebuild these ball joints.
Like a 7.5 rear end sitting in my garage right now, not doing nothing that I'll never put back underneath that truck.
well,
Yeah.
38 POS Racing. How's
Oh,
it
wait.
going?
Could put
I
that
like
in
how
there
you
and just
talk
blow
about
it
how
up.
those like smell like chocolate and vanilla. It just sounds like a fucking house fire. It's awful.
Yeah.
Oof.
I always thought coffee just smelled like they took every burned house and just pushed it in with a D9 and ran it through a filter, and that was coffee. I've
I
never
gotta
met
be
a
honest.
coffee
I
drinker.
got to be honest with you,
Maxwell
John.
said
If
it.
that's the case, then line them up because I love that taste.
It's not a
Go
coffee guy.
Burn down a house and inhale the
half
fumes.
half
Yes.
lit said, "Yay, Dorman!" Yeah,
Oh,
no kidding.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
dormant.
Some stuff from Dorman's okay.
If it's got electronics, don't buy it.
Yeah.
So it's simple as
I
that.
used
Don't-
I used
Don't buy
Dorman
a
today
Ford
on
intake from Dorman either.
some shift cable bushings for a Silverado.
Say
Window
hi to
regulators are
Kyle
good.
Garage and Rapid Transit J and NSB Custom Cars. Look at that. They all must have been hanging out in the same place. They all came in at the same time.
Kind of like all of us, just chilling, hanging out.
So
We
Country
came
Mile
on live
Garage, he's
Eating
saying
pizza.
it's funny that he says that. He's talking about starters and alternators, power steering pumps. I've gotten to where I will go to the junkyard and look for a factory original starter or alternator
Yeah,
because I would rather have that. And then there's a local guy here who will put bearings in them, brushes in them. And it's just, you're just worlds ahead than it's just total roulette getting this stuff from parts stores.
Yeah.
Mhm.
you just don't see people rebuild. Now, if it's my personal stuff, I would rather rebuild stuff.
Yeah.
But trying to get some of the rebuild parts is even.
I know that it's the same problem
Yeah.
in heavy duty stuff. Like you're better off rebuilding the alternator as starters.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's just where we are. And we're kind of moving toward this being like Cuba. You know, we're going to start
Yeah.
building our own
Yeah.
parts.
You
Well,
start.
is
Next
it-
thing you know is
Yeah,
you're
we're
seeing,
practically already there.
you're seeing
we've been
Kickstart.
there.
You're seeing Kickstart Yamaha motors
Under
connected
the
to drive
hood of a 50
shafts
Mercury.
underneath the 50,
Yeah,
underneath the 55 Chevy.
You
You
have
know,
to
yeah.
pop the hood, jam your foot in there, and kick it over.
I've seen pictures and videos of people in Cuba
That's
doing
some
that.
shit.
But-
Oh God.
We never thought it would get this bad 30 years ago, and now we're living it.
Yeah.
But I remember, I don't remember when it was. It probably was better than 15 years ago. I went to AutoZone and I asked them to see a distributor. And I know it's been a long time because they had it in stock. You know, nothing's ever in stock anymore, right? So they bring this thing out and it literally looked like it had been, and I don't remember what make it. I don't think it even matters. It's always some kind of weird private label. But this thing looked like it had been laying in a field in a core pile for years because of how deep all the pits were. And then they ran it through some really heavy sandblast cabinet and then stuck some parts in it. And I'm just like, wow. That was when I think it really started turning the cores you would see. And CV axles. I mean, I'm convinced they just take the stuff that's still within spec on the wear
And
and
put
just
it
kind
back.
of assemble it all out of core parts. And it's rough, some of that stuff.
I know several engine rebuild companies that do that. They'll reuse parts if they're fine.
Yeah.
They'll
Jasper.
put valve. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't going to drop names, but they'll throw valves and valve springs, and they'll replace what's bad and clean the rest and put
I
it together.
hate to say it, but that's actually not a bad strategy considering a lot of the parts we have.
Getting a call out. Well, it's still waiting.
Damien's still want to race this.
Uh,
Well, now you know the
Who's
now
calling
the,
you out?
Mopars
Mopars
Mustang.
Mustangs and minivan.
What does he
M&M,
drive?
Dart Valiant Dart, so white Dart.
He's got
whatever
the
it's going to be,
A
just
body.
whenever you see their car lined up next to it, it's the one that's in front. It's the one that's in front of his is going to be his car.
That's the one that like looks good.
Oh, when he gets to no name, that was nice.
Thank you.
The Jet might be in trouble via the Sonoma.
I don't know. We'll just. I mean,
So-
you definitely have a lot more experience.
I have not had some seat time in about a decade, so it's been rough. That's why I said the first few passes was pretty bad on that Sonoma, but it still impressed me. I think right now, if I set the suspension right, do a good burnout, leave light. If I do everything by the book, I'm thinking it's a high 7 car. I'm thinking 7.9. I really do think it's in it.
I think
The
it's
truck
got that.
felt
I think it'll go
Fantastic.
770s.
with the right air. It doesn't like being super humid out. It's still running a math. A lot of these guys running LS swaps in the Sonomas are running a speed density engine. Y'all probably don't know what that means, do you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you do. You don't know speed density. You're not running a mass airflow.
No,
You're
speed
running-
I know what-
density
yeah, I
is
know
it,
what
is
it
it
is.
Making
still
sure, making sure.
now speed density? Is it still multi-point?
Oh
or
yeah,
is
yeah,
it
yeah,
batch
yeah.
fire?
It's just not relying off of the metered air. It's
but
relying off of
is it
everything.
batch fire or sequential?
But does it already have a charge loaded?
You've broke me. Hang on.
It should be sequential.
I'm dyslexic. I don't know math. I don't know. Anyway,
Oh,
so
Yes. so
Yeah.
it's still 4-speed. Yeah.
Good job.
You're not gonna put in an automatic and conquer the world.
No, he ain't got that kind of time now.
Car's gonna fly.
Wait till he rides in mine with the built turbo 400. It might change his life.
speed density.
Nah.
Running the, hey, Anthony, that's
No,
my
I'm
buddy.
just gonna
man.
wait until he goes on his.
Speaking of Anthony, look.
Hey, Anthony.
his-
Look, hold on. I'm actually wearing his shirt. That's my cornball dealer. It's a
Hey,
good friend of
Anthony,
mine.
you
One
can
of
run my
cornball
payment Saturday.
dealers. Good guy, good guy. That's Tailored Tools and Equipment. I don't know why he's got his name.
He's my
on there.
favorite
Let's do
tool
that.
guy.
Yeah. Isn't he your only tool guy?
No,
Anyways.
I got another one.
So I was actually looking at doing some different upgrades on the truck. I didn't know if I wanted to do some spray, if I wanted to just do, maybe 100 shot, if I wanted to do
I vote 250 progressive.
well, I was thinking about doing maybe swapping it over to
Oh
E.
God.
But realistically, if I'm going to do an E85 tune, I'm going to wait until I build. I did a short the other day on I've got another LS that I bought. It's a core. It's got the
That one over there.
the wonderful lifter tick. I've got a number 4 lifter that's collapsed. So I'm
You
going to
don't
do a
wanna
video
trade
on
me
that.
for-
Huh?
You don't want to trade me for that?
No. What we're going to do is I'm probably going to wind up running a 76 millimeter turbo on that one, and I may wind up doing E-tune for that one, and it's sprayer to the moon.
Can I just say something?
Well,
You realize your truck with a set of actual wrinkle wall slicks on it, E85 and a 150 shot is potentially in the mid 6s.
okay, well, I can't go that fast yet because I don't want to have to wear a suit and I don't want to cage it.
I'm just saying.
Well, if you break 1139, you gotta have a cage.
Just
So-
ease off the throttle a little bit. Just go a little slow.
Pull a
Yeah.
Burger bottle and start throwing the tools in the truck.
Yeah,
Start
put
waiting
the
to death.
smell
Air cleaner on
sandbags
it.
on
I
it.
gotta slow it down, man. It's speeding up.
Hey,
We
I'm
got to
telling
get
you
there
this.
before we can worry about it being too fast.
That's right. Well, I'll be honest. I mean, if I don't make it, I'm still going to be there no matter what, just to watch whether I get to race or not.
Can I tell them my plan for your subs?
Hang on. Truck's going to come.
Russian bots.
Truck's
No.
going to come anyways. Just because I want community. I want everybody to see it. I want to talk. I want everybody to
You
know
might
all
get
that.
your subs there
That's
if
a
for some
possibility.
reason
Okay.
you don't.
I got.
I am not afraid to stand out front. I did watch the live the other day. I am not afraid to stand out front with a sign and a tank top on if need be.
That's
So-
what
So
happens.
this is my plan. This is my actual plan. I will be doing this. If he does not make his subs, I'm going to see how many he needs, and I'm going to take money out of the ATM, $1 per sub he needs, and I'm going to stand
Well,
at the
don't do
gates
that.
and I'm going to pay $1 per sub.
No, I won't take them. I won't accept them.
I really
Don't start
do.
that.
No matter what, honestly, I'm not buying subs. I'm not doing anything like that. I want this to be
You're
genuine.
going to get them.
Yeah, I want it to be genuine. I really don't enjoy doing the editing portion of the videos.
I love editing.
So he's been doing a couple of my videos, and I found out that
Yeah,
most
you
of my
got two
videos that did the
written on
best were his editing. So
You do great editing. You ought to work on your car though more.
yeah,
So here's the deal.
I've been
Mopars
very busy,
Mustangs-
man.
Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans. You stood out front with a sign because you didn't start working on getting your subs until really late.
Yeah, I think they started like a month before No Name.
Exactly. Everybody that started early,
I
you
love
got
that.
all kinds of time.
So
There's all kinds of time
You
now.
got
91
270
days.
something.
well, let me see. I'll just look right now. Let's see. Hang on.
Get them to 300 tonight.
That would
Go
be nice.
subscribe to Technician Troy.
By the way, there is a link up top pinned in the chat. So if you want to check out Technician Troy's channel, if he earned your sub, you can go up there and
Yeah.
click it.
I'm at 278 right now, which is actually surprising
Oh, man,
because this
22.
morning
22,
I
that's
think
not
I was
bad.
at like 274 because I posted
Well
that
over
short.
halfway.
So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm over halfway. I think I'll get it, but I love that Anthony put on there that I need to bring back the lime green Steelies and Baby Moons. So funny story, my high school truck, my little black one.
Oh,
IS-10,
that thing.
I went to a junkyard because my tires were absolute trash. I was doing too many burnouts. They were garbage, and I needed tires. I found a set of Steelies off of a Buick that had 195s, and they were dry rotted as dry rotted could be. You could see the air in the tire is what I'm saying. It was that bad. I put the Steelies on the truck. They had a thin white wall on them. I washed them with bleach. I put the baseball cards around the wheel, and I sanded them down, and I spray painted them lime green because that's my favorite color. And I drove to about 5 different truck stops. I don't know if y'all know how hard it is to find Baby Moons at a truck stop, but it's downright impossible to find one that will fit an old 14-inch GM wheel. But I found them in Lebanon, and I put them on there, and that was my favorite set of wheels. And they would cost me about $100. And I did burnout after burnout after burnout on those dry rotted tires.
Yeah.
And they looked just like I got out of the junkyard. They
Speaking-
were hard as a rock.
Speaking of old shit tires, you got a ton of them over there.
I do have a lot of tires over there.
It's fun.
There will be some burnout action happening at No Name when I get there. I will get there. That I'm determined.
NSB brings their tire machine.
Huh?
NSB brings their tire machine.
Well, that's good to know because all those are mounted, aired up, ready to go already.
Okay.
So
Yes.
So are you in Lebanon or
I'm actually in White House. So I'm in White House, Tennessee.
that's where JB is?
And I believe who else is up here? Lars is up here.
Or is JB?
There was a guy that I ran into
And
at the gas station.
I can't remember.
a
There's
few
somebody
weeks
else up
ago.
here. They're floating around somewhere, but they're up here.
My
So-
uncle lives in Lebanon.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
But
So-
anyway, when I was going to say you talk about getting tires there, his tire joint is Cruises, which is about a mile before you cross into Trousdale County on 231
Oh,
going
he's
north.
out there.
Yeah,
Hey, Halfwit's in Nashville, so he's not too far. He's close.
that's where
Closer
Cruises
to-
tire joint is.
Okay.
Shout out to him.
Nashville, yeah, I'm in
Oh, yeah,
Donaldson, so
we're in that. Me and
Halfwit's
Nick
probably
and-
close to me.
Yeah.
Me,
There's a
me,
lot of
Nick, and
people in
John
that
are in
metro
Nashville.
Nashville area.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
I'm sorry.
Why is there so many in that area? Why are there so many here?
Because hipsters moved here, and
Yeah.
I guess
Ruined
it's
it.
that was had to do with
There's
us.
jobs.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Crappy ones.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all we got in Tennessee.
But no. So, anyways, I will absolutely be there no matter what. I will trailer the truck. That just so people can see it. I'm actually planning on camping in the pits next to Nick.
We're both camping.
Cool.
Yep, we're gonna have a little grill action going, maybe some tunes, just
Excellent.
hanging out. So either way, and I'm gonna bring a bunch of tools as much as I can, anyways, in the back of the truck.
Yeah, we're gonna need that.
Me too.
Yeah.
So
So I'm gonna bring some tools. So
we're
if
gonna bring spare ball
anybody,
joints.
whether I'm racing or not, if anybody needs some help, please find me in the pits. I will be there to help. I will wrench on whatever you need me to, as long as I need to.
Just subscribe to
Yeah,
Trace and Troy
just-
so he's
if
there.
something's broke, come find me or him, and
I'm-
we will help you.
I'm gonna
One
try
thing
to
I'll-
bring.
One thing
I'm
I'll
gonna try to
throw out
bring a
there
little-
too with that. So NSB Custom Cars, they bring a Coates tire changer, and they pit next to Robbie Layton, and he brings a welder, I believe,
Okay.
in a compressor. So you have a shop in the pits, and you got a lot of guys with a lot of knowledge to help. So that whole area right there that pits close to the
Yep. And you
It's
can
close
find
to
a
that
ride.
time.
You can find a ride to a parts store. If you
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
O'Reilly's is pretty close.
Yeah.
So,
Matter of fact, I just bought a little mini bike. I'll take you on the back of it. I don't even care. I'll get you
you
there.
know, if
I don't think we had anything on the jet that we had to run to the parts store for, did we?
That's abundantly clear.
No, no,
Not-
no.
You
not
didn't
that
go to
you
the parts
wanna-
store for anything.
Not that you want to break anything at Sykeston. You want your stuff to run without a hitch, and you want to have a good time without breaking stuff. But if you're going to break something, that's a good place to do it.
What happened?
I don't know what just happened.
I made a really terrible joke, and you didn't pick up on
that's
it.
good.
Because I was
I'm
listening
glad.
to John.
Well, we're doing this, and
You said that you didn't
It
have
is
to go to O'Reilly's for anything for your car. I said that's abundantly clear. I don't think you've got anything from the parts store.
No,
well, it's true. It
no.
is.
Actually,
It's
99
called the junkyard
90
jet for a reason,
Yeah,
right?
just
I mean,
the block and heads came out of a
Yeah.
junkyard.
So I will
The
say
car
this.
was the trash pile.
I will say this. I've got a video up of me helping a buddy of mine with a C10, and he plans on doing
Chris is good people.
Chris. Yeah. So his name's Chris. He's been wanting to do YouTube. He was kind of excited about hey, Frank, I appreciate you subbing, by the way. So he is a really good guy. He is almost too smart when it comes down to building a car. So that's C10. If you haven't seen the video, you can go back and watch it, but I'll give you a quick rundown. He actually built that in high school. What? God, over a decade ago? 15 years ago?
17 years ago?
Well, he graduated a year before. So, yeah, over a decade ago.
Yeah.
So,
He's had that since like 2008.
yeah. And he rebuilt that as a high school kid. I don't know how he got the money for it. I don't know how, but his whole family are C10 crazy. So his truck was an original big block, long bed step side. I didn't know that the long bed step side existed until I saw this truck.
Yeah, meter reader special.
I did not know that. And then when I saw it, I fell in love with it. We have absolutely destroyed tires on that truck at the school, on any stoplight, any stop sign, anywhere it got stopped. As soon as he put it to the floor, the tires were roasted. So, I mean, cops were called thinking stuff was on fire. It was terrible. So now that we're getting older, we've actually started making real money and started getting smarter. He's actually decided to go ahead and rebuild that. And his wife is also a big car enthusiast. And he has actually taken the 396 out. Well, we took the 396 out, and he had
it's over there.
Yeah, shut up. That's not supposed to be known yet.
Troy's
So-
also got mini bikes.
So we took
One
the
of those
396 and the mildly built TH400 out of it, and we're actually putting a 540, I believe is what it is.
540.
540 big block, blueprint big block, and a Hughes built TH400. And it's got about 700 horsepower. And he said that's on the low end. Like there's more that you can do to it. And I'm going to try to get a little bit more info and more series on that. I'm going to post more of that whenever he starts to do some autocross racing. He wants to do some auto track. He's actually doing the frame stiffener right now this weekend. So it's going to be I love seeing him work. He's very
Can we
meticulous.
mention
It's
the
fun.
brutal torque curve that thing's probably got?
Man. I've got to see if I can find his dyno sheet. It's monstrous on the torque curve. I mean, it's got
it's probably Kimbo Slice before 4,000.
it's ridiculous. It is, and it's a beautiful truck. It's got a little bit of rust, but I mean, all the best ones do, unless it's the junkyard jet. But that's beside the point.
Hey,
Dizzy,
I
by
don't
the way,
appreciate your tone.
the link for Technician Troy is pinned at the top, and I work my way around, and as people register, I'll do that. But to me, rather than try to put up 23 links every time we're live, I find a lot more effectiveness in putting up one link sometimes when we're live. It just seems to get the best results. And Bigfoots and Mopars, he brings mother's car wax and microfiber towels if people need to polish their race car.
Oh, fuck, I need all of
Yeah,
that.
I'm
Gonna take
telling
all
you.
of it. Yeah.
I tell you what to do. Just take
Yes.
the cloths and the polish and just bundle them up in like a big ball and just
chuck it.
throw them
Chuck
at your
it
car,
in
and
the
that should be
car.
fine.
You should do just
It's
fine.
not like it's this Roadrunner over
polish
here.
that
I mean.
car with a ball peen hammer for all.
I've done that. I've knocked a hole in it at No Name.
So another story is Nick actually went with me. What was it now? It's been over 12 years to go get a 72 Monte Carlo.
Oh, that, yeah.
So this story is, I might cry. I'm not even gonna lie. This is a bit emotional.
I'm proud of that car running.
I am too. We actually I called all these guys. My parents went out of town. I'm getting ahead of myself. I digress. So I bought the car. It has a 406 small block, Dart aluminum heads. It's a nasty build,
Solid
little small
roller
block.
cam.
It's a good
Hot
good
rod.
runner.
It runs great.
204R trans, Red Eagle clutches. It's got a 3200 stall in it. It's got a brand new drive shaft, brand new 12 bolt rear end with a 355 Eaton locker in it. It is a wonderfully built drivetrain.
Don't forget the cold AC
It does have, it has AC. I haven't charged it up in a while, so it's probably leaked.
and a track.
I had it for about 3 weeks. What happened was I bought this car when Craigslist was still a thing. Yeah, that's archaic, right?
Ooh.
So I bought it off of
I'm
Craigslist.
back on Craigslist.
My dad was going to go buy a 2005 Mustang GT that was all done up. He wanted it all pretty, bells and whistles. He's a Ford guy. I know. I'm not going to hold it against him. I'm a Chevy guy. So I buy this car. He's going to buy this Mustang. His deal falls through. I reach in my pocket. I throw him the keys, and I said, "You've worked harder and sacrificed a lot more. You get your toy before I get mine." So it was, the color of it was like smushed peas that you feed a kid,
I
like
call
a
it
baby.
the Exorcist green.
It was
Exorcist.
yeah, it was
It
disgusting.
baby food.
The interior was bench seat, and it looked like your grandma's drapes. They were all floral pattern and just disgusting.
I liked it.
I did not.
Hell
The
yeah.
duct tape that was on the driver's side though did match, so I will give the guy props on that. He did a good job there.
He cared.
Yeah, he did. So the gentleman that built it was he was a mechanical engineer, and he overanalyzed everything with drivetrain, and he wanted to sell it because his wife wanted a convertible and she wanted a Corvette, and he wanted the same drivetrain, so he was going to do that in a Corvette. So I buy this car, I'll drive all the way down to Murfreesboro. Everything for some reason, hang on, if some of y'all aren't from around here, Murfreesboro.
Murfreesboro. Murber.
We go down to Murfreesboro. I call Nick, go, hey, you want to ride with me to go buy this car? Absolutely. We get there. My dad asked the guy, how about you drive it? Because I'm going to baby it. I mean, I'm terrified because I'm younger. It's a lot of power for me. It's a big car. I hand the guy the keys. He goes, yeah, I'll drive it. We go into a newly made subdivision, which is not actually being built yet. It's just got the infrastructure. So it's just got the road. And there are black marks after black. I mean, it looks like they've been drag racing on the weekend on this place. My dad looks over at this guy and says, been here before? He goes, once or twice. And it is it looks to me at the time, it looked like a 3 mile long burnout. The guy drops it down into low gear, hammers on it. It spins. He goes to second, goes to third, and it never planes. You know how a boat comes up and then flattens out? This thing is just looking at the sky the whole time. It is just pulling and pulling like a freight train.
And I saw something you didn't see. The tachometer was at
It's pegged.
6,200
It is
RPM the
absolutely
whole
pegged
time.
out. So Nick's in the back seat. I'm in the back seat. My dad's in the passenger seat. We get done. My dad's driving back home. I'm driving the Monte Carlo. He's in the passenger seat. The A-track player still works. Look, Anthony put that A-track, though. I
Nice.
slap in one of the A-tracks, and it's Sammy Hagar. I can't drive 55.
So we did 125 instead back home.
I'm driving back down the interstate. I get back home. I see this car. It's beautiful. Throw my dad the keys and everything. I kind of have my moment. We have a father-son thing. We instantly start tearing it down. He wants a pretty show and go car. He wants something that's kind of fast, but pretty to look at, you know? So me and him do 240 hours. I'm not a body guy, but I will sand one down to bare metal.
I came for a couple days of that.
and it ain't you. I'll get it to bare metal. I can tell you that.
Just after it was done.
So we got 240 hours of sanding. It had 5 different layers of the same paint. It was base. It was primer, base, clear. Primer, base, clear. It was terrible. It was ugly. We sand it down. We get it painted. We get it back. We slowly start to piece it back together. And it's been 10 years since that car was fired up. It had a carburetor on it. The car it needed to be rebuilt. Floats were stuck. I went to rebuild it. It had been rebuilt so many times. Everything was stripped. It looked like somebody didn't know what they were doing, and it was just garbage. I actually sold that carburetor to you, I believe, didn't I? The 770 single pumper?
I thought you sold it to Chris.
I may have. No, the other one I did. I put a 770 or I put a 750 double pumper on it just to get it to run, to move in and out of the driveway, in and out of the garage. And it's running pig rich because that's what Holly does. They don't want to run one lean, obviously. They want to run it fat, make it happy, right? And my dad wants to be the guy that sticks the key in, turns the ignition, walks away, and it fires up and runs. He likes the modern.
And make sure you check out my latest videos for that.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Shut up, Nick.
So I actually called these guys, and it was me, Daddy's Money Garage, and Nick, and then I had Greg, which is my roommate. That's his Roadrunner next to us, and I think that was all of it.
And the girls.
And the girls were here, but they were grabbing drinks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I decided to swap it over to Sniper EFI. So that's what he wanted.
God, it wasn't just that. It was.
I know it sounds like it's easy, or it sounds like it was that. I had already bolted the throttle body on.
It needed plugs.
It needed plugs.
Oil
It
change.
needed oil change. It needed to
Fuel
be
pump.
wired. It needed to have the new TV cable and the new
Throttle cable.
attached. It needed to have the fuel pump plumbed.
Wired.
It needed to be wired. So every one of us it took me a minute to actually break out of, okay, I'm in charge. I have to do everything.
We divided and conquered.
We had to divide and conquer. And I'll be honest. So Nick did the throttle linkage. He did the TV cable. That's not true. He did all the up on the top. He did all that. And we did the throttle cable. I did the dirty work. I was underneath it with the TV cable. And once I pulled it, I took a bath in type F.
Yeah, you did.
And then he went and got a haircut.
He did. He went and got a haircut.
No. I did work and then went and got a haircut.
Yeah.
And then came back.
So-
and did more work.
I'm absolutely terrified of working on this car because now it's my dad's car. Obviously, I don't want to screw up. I don't want to do something wrong for my dad. And that car, we were putting it in. So on the computer, we were putting it in as magnetic, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't working because we didn't have a magnetic pickup style. We had to go to coil negative
Yeah.
and trick it essentially.
Points.
And it fired right off. And I'm not kidding. The amount of emotion that flowed over me, they all saw it. I was happy. I was crying. I was ecstatic. I let it run for, what did we do? Let it run for about 30,
Like, yeah.
30
we let it
minutes.
warm completely
We
up.
let it warm
Yeah.
completely up, knocked all the cobwebs off of it. I
Pulled it out.
revved the
Yeah.
absolute piss out of it because the throttle response on that thing is immaculate. I mean, it is just nasty quick. And then I shut it off and went to start it again. And it had, the GM starter that was about this
Oh,
big.
yeah.
The
Yep.
skull crusher is what you call it. And the defeat on my face when I went to start it, and it goes, yeah.
Starter
Because it had heat soaked the
heat-soaked.
starter like they always do,
and died.
and it died. It just killed the starter. And I looked over at them like we had done nothing. And
It's
I
like-
felt
It's like,
terrible.
motherfucker, this car ran.
I felt terrible because like y'all were here. We started. I was awake and started at 6 o'clock in the morning.
I got
they-
here like 8.
They didn't leave though until 1 o'clock the next day. So my parents were on a cruise, and I couldn't hold it in. Once it lit off, I had to. I don't even know how to FaceTime. I
Yeah.
FaceTime my dad, and he's in bed on a cruise in Mexico.
You woke him up.
I did, and it was awesome.
That was
So-
a good
It's
day.
it's literally one of those things that if we got it on video, if we were
Oh, it would have been
coordinated-
the
if we were
most epic
coordinated
video.
enough to get it on video
Oh,
and
man.
make it flow and get it all together, it would have been a million view video.
Yeah.
But
Austin
we
wasn't filming.
we just got it to that's ours, I guess.
It was It was basically them
Cool.
when they come out and help. That was them kicking me in the butt, and going, "Okay, now do your stuff and get on YouTube so you can go race with us and have a good time." And no name. So that's when I started actually following people that needed subscribers. That's John. I found your page, and it had the link to who needs more subscribers, and I did that, and I went, well, I probably could do a couple of videos here and there. I got enough crap laying around. I mean, I've got a fuel cell I need to put in the truck. I got an LS over there that needs to be rebuilt. Now that the cat's out of the bag, I got a 396 over there. I need to find a chassis in to make one nasty burnout
I
monster.
know where 71 Monte Carlo is.
That's probably going to happen. And I've got mini bikes now to just tinker with,
Should've bought the
just do
Nova
stuff.
since-
So
So is the Sonoma or the Jet going to win heads up? Because I think that sounds like a pretty good match.
if
See, it
they're not
depends.
on the bottle, I think I can take them because of experience.
I think it's just gonna be you no matter what because of experience. Because I don't give a shit.
No.
I
If, if you're smart enough to do the bottle, set it up right, and you put it into, I don't know, just have it come on progressively when you're in third, you're gonna fly by me. You should have more power. You're way lighter. You have no car, is what
You're
I'm
like
saying.
3,500 pounds?
I'm
he
30
has a converter in a good transmission. It takes out of the equation the 4-speed equation.
I don't really give a shit. I just like running fast down a track.
Have you gotten any better at rowing the gears, Austin? Because I think that the gear experience was quite a learning curve your first time down the track with it.
Yeah, I've gotten better at it. I mean, we've been driving the car.
You've
but
been driving it.
Troy,
the-
have you seen the video I made of Austin's first trip down the track in the
Yeah,
Jet?
and that's
I have.
that's
I liked it
like
because
the
it's the
very,
music
very
from my
first time.
favorite movie,
It
Driving
went-
Miss Daisy.
It went from first to might as well go into reverse because that's what it looked. It was just
Austin is
Oh,
the
yeah,
only
he
man
went
that has
power glide.
ever invented an 883 Power Glide.
Yeah, yeah. Essentially.
So I have, and now I have personally driven that car, and I will tell you this: it's a death trap for somebody like me.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm fat in the midsection, and I'm 6'4", and he is not by any means my height. So the steering wheel is literally right here on my knees. So I try to go from the gas pedal to the brake, which, mind you, is not normal. And the gear shifter, if you have to go to reverse, I have to move this leg over and up into reverse.
Yeah.
So if I have to fast out of that, and it is awful.
Yeah.
And it's just,
You know, I'm not that tall, but I have long legs. I got
5'4".
legs longer than most people 6 feet tall. So for me, the seat is almost always too close in
Yeah.
everything I drive. And I don't know how some of these people drive with their knees in their face.
yeah,
But you know the car has power.
it's peppy. I will say that you have more there than I think you have.
Yeah.
I think you have.
I should know. I got 40 hours in those heads.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to see that car go through the gears on a clean pass.
I would love to see him just roll
And
through them. It
I'll
would be
say
beautiful.
this, and it won't take long. The reason I know his car's got more in it is when I was growing up, my dad had a 71 Duster that was a total turd,
Oh, I remember that.
and it had a 360 out of a van, not rebuilt.
See you, Frank.
The rocker shaft assemblies were so wore out, they literally made noise. And all it had was it had a purple shaft, an M1, a 750 Holly, headers, had a 727, a 3000 stall, and a 456 gear. He drove it to work every day, and it literally would run 820s
Every day.
on just radials. Just drive
Yeah.
it to the track.
Well, shit,
Run
the
820s.
Jet ran an 844 from first to fourth accidentally.
Power glide.
So,
and ran an 844.
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is if realistically,
Wow.
the only reason why I think I might could win is because you don't have the experience of racing the
Yeah,
4-speed.
no,
If it was
no.
an automatic, you'd absolutely
You
rip me a
went,
new one.
you went from first to fourth and ran an 844. That's 7
Yeah.
seconds right there.
Oh, yeah, all day long.
I've still got
Man.
the time slip.
All day long.
That's from when we ran Slaghammer.
You need to get the thing out of the hole about $5,000, and you need to learn
Well,
the power
when
shift.
when it left at 3,300, it left beautifully. Like it just
You should
bang on.
really try to flat foot it though.
So
Just
so
power
realistically, the plan needs to be is once. So we got a lot of the new parts in for the Jet to fix. We got
New
a
rear
wheel
seal
seal.
kit,
We got a new wheel seal. We got
the shock
shock and
and I got some new squirters for the carburetor.
yeah, and then that should fix your bog on wide open on
Yeah.
tip in. Nick's is almost done. Once he gets the drive shaft, it's
I got about 3 hours of wiring.
Juice it
about
up with
3
some
hours
fluids.
of fuel system.
no, you don't, because I'm gonna be there to help you, and the wiring and the fuel system that'd be easy.
No.
Realistically, a weekend we'll have his running, and then the next thing is we are all trying to plan a drag day at the hill. So we all want to race each other just to
Yeah,
get some
I don't want
times
to go
in
to
and stuff
Buffalo
like that.
Valley. I
Never
don't
been
like
down the
racing
track at the hill.
uphill.
Yeah,
Yeah, Buffalo Valley's wild.
Yeah.
I've never. That is a crazy track. I've
Yeah.
just never.
It's like, let's find a hill in my neighborhood and go valve float up it.
Yeah,
You know, it's like
A hole in the wall.
that's
I
what
mean,
it feels like.
it is.
Plus, it's a fucking hour away. Union Hill's
It is.
20 minutes that way.
Union Hill's literally right there. There it is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
Where is Union Hill? I've never been there.
So it's
Ridgetop.
Ridgetop, Greenbrier area. It's what do they? They actually call it Goodlettsville, I believe, is what it is. I think
It's
it's
technically
Goodlettsville.
Goodlettsville.
I think it's a
Yeah.
Goodlettsville
It's
address.
technically in Goodlettsville now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but it's not.
It's like right on the edge of Greenbrier.
Yeah, it's right. If you take there's a KOA campground or something right off of 41, which is Dickerson Road. You just drive up that
It's
back
also
road, and it's
beautiful.
essentially back up there. It's not far at all.
Like we could drive the Jet there.
Well, we want to say hi to Mohawk 62.
I think
Rob
you ought to
Frost,
drive it
Street
to
Cars,
Sideston.
and Tony's Hot Rock Garage, who just slid in here, and Sarah Bratcher. Want to say hi to everybody that came in.
That's my woman.
See,
She
Oh.
watched. That's my woman.
Is that your woman?
he's
She's supportive.
behaving. Troy
Sarah.
is behaving very well.
She's supportive.
Want to
Love
say
her
hi to
very.
all of you guys. Thanks for coming in. For those of you who have not yet subscribed to Technician Troy, his link is pinned in the top. Go check it out. If you earned your sub, subscribe. And he's closing in on 300 subs.
Ooh.
You know, he's 500 to punch his ticket to the No Name Nationals. Does nothing special. Hello. Thanks for stopping in. One-Eyed Cat.
Good on those shorts.
286.
Just wanted to say Austin had this idea. He wanted to get Troy on so more people could meet him, see what he's doing, see what it's all about. And just wanted to bring it to you guys. It's kind of an odd night. And I've heard the Pontiac Power Hour is on hiatus for the summer, so we thought this would be a good time to go live. You guys, you have anything else? You guys want to talk about what your Sykeston plans are, your summer plans, anything you want to tell the viewers before we sign off?
Yeah, I've
I'm
already.
gonna fight Jake. No.
Shut up.
What's his name? Blake. Damn it! How did I forget? I was just talking about him earlier today. We're gonna fight Blake.
So,
I've already got a vehicle planned for my second No Name National.
yeah, that's what the other motor I'm thinking about.
No.
Anyways,
Well,
so-
yeah, that.
I'm actually contemplating on trying to see if they all want to just like convoy up there. And there's a lot of people that are in the same area.
I've verified. There's like 3 people that say they want to meet up and go. With
I was
us.
going to say, if we just, if anybody wants to meet up,
For the
And-
Hot Rod Anti-Tour.
Yeah, we'll call it. Yeah,
No power tour.
the No Power Tour. That's
Power
it.
Tour.
So
I like that.
it would be awesome to do like a
Powerless
little convoy up there. You know, we kind of look at each
I'll
other,
get my
watch
New
each other's back.
Balances.
You know, stop, grab gas, and,
No
and the snack,
Corvettes.
whatever. Just
break down.
there's going to be plenty. I'm sure there's going to be plenty GoPros going. There's going to be a lot of video, and it would just be awesome to see it from different
See,
perspectives.
that's the
So-
thing about No Name. There's not a second where you're not.
So-
on camera.
Oh, I'm sure
There is
Sure.
one thing I do want to mention. So
Alright.
when I had my engine dynoed, that all happened because of Jeffrey Paris. He's one of the head guys over at what's Lincoln Tech now. And the instructor, Mr. Maxwell, he hooked me up with
Halfway
that did
citizen.
all my dyno stuff. Mr. Maxwell was actually worked for Pontiac for a long time, and he's a huge Ecotech guy. And he was talking about it. He's got a Cobalt. It literally, I think he cut it off at $5,000 on the chassis dyno, and it made 380 horsepower.
Oh yeah, you can build those.
So I'm actually wanting to find, since I'm in a van club and I'm a vice president of a van club, HHRs are now allowed in van events, and I'm going to try. Hang on, just let me finish.
God,
Let
next
me
week,
finish.
PT Cruisers.
Let me finish. Just let me finish.
All right, all right.
I'm gonna get an HHR panel that's blown up on Craigslist for $400.
No.
I'm gonna build a Ecotech with a Roots supercharger on it and a 6-speed, and I will be
With a
drag
Hillborn
racing
scooter.
a 350 horsepower Ecotech.
Wait, hold
wanna
on.
do an
HHR.
No, hold on.
I can probably secure you an M90 pretty cheap.
I mean,
I will-
I don't see what's wrong with this.
This is only acceptable if you put the Hillborn scoop on transverse.
So my only experience
I
with
could
an
put two
HHR
Predators on
was
it.
driving my boss's HHR in the rain and going straight through an intersection because I hit the brakes and nothing
The
happened.
closest thing I've drove to one's a Cavalier, and I drove it into a wall at 30 miles an hour with him in it on purpose because I did not like
Okay.
the car.
John, before we go anywhere, you have to understand how ridiculous this story is.
Yeah.
Because it's true.
Hang on, it is.
Nick has got stories.
So Nick
man.
has owned well over 50 cars. He had what year was the Fox body?
Which one?
The one that you
86.
sold or traded for the.
That was a 90, I think.
So it was,
90.
anyways, it was a built Fox body running open header. Grandparents were mad
Oh,
at
yeah.
the time that he was living there and said, "You have to make this quiet or get rid of it."
Now,
His
today.
option was, "I'll just prove him a point. I'll buy a piece of crap." So he trades it to a guy with a 4-door Cavalier that used to be sprayed.
No, it had a rear mount turbo on it.
Oh, it had a rear mounted turbo. Well,
And he
it still
cut
had
it
the-
off with a Sawzall 5 minutes before I traded
It was awful. It was spray painted like
blue.
blue, and I mean like metallic blue.
Yeah.
He's like, "You got to go for riding this
Nolensville Road
car.
blue.
You got to go for riding this car. It's great. We're riding this car. It's hot garbage. Like I would much prefer to ride in the back of a garbage
It
truck."
smelled like paint and poverty inside.
So we're on the back of a loading dock near, I think,
Kroger.
like
Kroger.
Kroger, Walmart, whatever.
I'm
it
not
was.
going to give addresses, though.
He's driving. I'm looking out the passenger window. He goes, "I wonder what this feels like." I don't know what that means. I turn to look straight, and we are aimed at a wall. He hits it doing 30, and we just bounce off like it's Tupperware. And I'm thinking,
I wonder what
what
this
happened?
feels like.
It cracked the windshield and
It
totally
was-
flexed the firewall.
It was the dumbest thing I've ever done, and had the most fun doing at the same time. I
It
was
broke.
like, this
Hey,
is-
and it also broke the differential. So when I'd go around the corner, it would rev up to
It was-
red line, and when I'd straighten out, it would go back like it had gear again.
he is
Hey, is
destroyed.
that what they mean when they say it? Cop posy?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, yeah, I'd catch it all
Yeah.
right. You feel it? It felt like a
So,
burner shutter.
I would be very alarmed if I was riding in a car with Nick and all of a sudden I heard, "I wonder what this feels like."
Yeah. So we've got decades of stories
Oh God.
of automobiles and stuff. So we're actually talking about possibly doing some of these lives as well.
If
on
we
the-
get a
on the
Penske
side.
truck, we just got to register it.
Just occasionally, just to laugh
Yes.
and make us get together
Yes.
and hang out. So be on the lookout for that. And man, John, I appreciate you letting us do this live here in my garage, which doesn't look like a garage when you got recliners and cigar bar kind of thing going. But
This
I
is just
assure
a
you,
corner.
there's motorcycles,
garage.
there's a car, there's some tools over there. Thank you, Anthony, for that, by the way.
Here's my old fuel cell.
Yep. So
And probably one of the nicest B bodies I've
that is
ever
that is
seen.
probably a
Beautiful
nice car.
car.
Yeah, the car is genuinely.
So
nice.
I greatly appreciate everybody that came out and subbed and just keep sharing, keep helping me out, get me there. I can't wait to meet all you guys and girls in person. That's no couth. Can't help that. You can't teach
All
that.
my friends are shitbags.
So
You're a shitbag.
I can't thank you enough,
Like the trash
and I
light.
can't wait to get to No Name. Whether I'm racing or not, I'm going to be there. I'm going to get to enjoy it. So it'll be awesome.
Yep. Well, that's the whole point. It's a content creator family reunion. We come out, we have a really good time, but because we're all car people, we have it at the track and bring stuff. That's the
Yeah.
idea.
We need to.
All right.
We need to start turning into a little bit of a swap meet too. You never know how many parts people's got that I
That's
might
a
need.
whole other,
God.
whole other bag.
I know.
That's want to say out a few
Unsubscribe.
people. We had Ron English slide in here, Alan's Cars and Stuff,
wanna do
does
it
nothing
virtual?
special. Tony's Hot Rod Garage, Dean Stevenson, the Auto Salvage Outlaw. Want to say hi to all you guys, but we're going to run. Thanks for joining us. If you've not yet checked out the Technician Troy's channel, his link is pinned at the top. And with that, we'll sign out. Hopefully, you'll be seeing Technician Troy on a live with me before you know it for 500 subs.
That'll be awesome. I can't wait.
Make sure you check out my
Unsubscribe.
latest videos on EFI and how to make it work.
Unsubscribe and subscribe to us.
Oh my god.
Like we haven't posted a video in a month, but it's
Hey,
coming.
I'm-
Yeah, because
Sorry.
you go on you go on vacation.
I'm
every
doing.
week.
I
I'm
have
doing
a
the
life.
Hey, shut up. This is about me, okay? Not
Fuck you.
you. So realistically, I appreciate everybody coming out doing this. Just be on the lookout. I'm trying to get more shorts out there. I'm starting to do a little bit of stuff from the common failures at work. I don't know if anybody's seeing that.
I saw that.
There's a lot of transmission work being done now on some of the stuff.
I'll
So-
call you if I have any of the usual.
I'm gonna
converter
unsubscribe to your channel.
But I'm gonna try to get some more content out there, and I would love some feedback at any point in time. Let me know what y'all are looking for. I mean, I see all kinds of stuff, whether it be cars here in my garage,
Dr.
hot
Art.
rods. Anthony's
Oh,
probably
Dr.
going to come up, and I'll be working on his exhaust a little
Well,
bit.
one
this
thing-
weekend on a diesel,
One
so.
thing people always like is the botch stuff that comes in your shop that you see.
Oh yeah,
God, yeah.
That,
You know,
that stuff always does well.
I should
The,
probably start doing shorts on that because you should see some of the exhaust that comes in.
he,
my
Oh,
he
I
truck.
gets some awful
Oh,
stuff,
my
and it would be
God.
glorious.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I
Well,
really
guys,
do.
thanks for coming out tonight. We'll
Hope
we
you
won't
get
go
to
long
feeling better,
tonight,
Auto Salvage.
but we'll be seeing you guys again. I'll give a reminder to everybody. I'm going to be live from the annual Williamson Road Cruise In Roanoke tomorrow. I'm going to be trying to go live on location, and you guys can check out the hot rods cruising back and forth on Williamson Road behind me. So we'll see how that works. So we'll try to do a live on location from there. So
Awesome.
anyway, thank you guys. We are out.
Have a good one.
Unsubscribe.